Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode. Neeta here, and today we're actually diving into how to actually stop worrying about being judged. Don't you hate it when you are about to do something or maybe go live on social media and you pull back because you're so worried about what other people will think? Or when you're about to tell your family and friends that you are pivoting in your career, wanting to do something different, but you hold back because you are afraid of being judged. Now, let's get into it because we have a lot to cover. And by the end of this video, you will have a lot more confidence and you will feel unapologetic with the tools and strategies I'm going to actually go over with you. So let's get into it. All right. The first thing that you want to think about when we are getting over or overcoming this feeling of worrying about being judged is we have to be aware of where it's coming from. Now, the thing is you're starting something brand new, probably, or you're making a really big life decision. And the times that we worry about most often is when it's people who care about us the most, right? Our friends and our family, from making a different decision in our careers or in our lives. Or maybe it's doing something for the very, very first time that you don't really have the best skill set on, but you're like, once you do it, oftentimes you will actually get better and better and better. But it doesn't take away of that fear of worrying about what other people will say, what other people will think, what other people will do. Now, let's actually get back into psychology and get into human behavior. And you guys know that I use this a lot with our students in our communities and in the books that I've actually written for coaches and entrepreneurs. So the first thing that we want to do is have some deep introspection. That's right. Spend some time thinking about why that is an actual worry for you, because it happens to all of us. So I totally remember this feeling about being worried about what other people would say and think when I was so ready to leave my really lucrative dental practice. And I knew that after sharing it with a couple of my family members, first they thought I was crazy, they thought I was joining a cult, and they thought, have I lost my mind? Because I spent so much money on dental school and training, and I actually had owned a business which was over 7 figures and built it up to a really strong point to then, of course, in their eyes, throw it all away, right? And that's not really what I was doing. I was just ready to move on to other passions and other things. And so one of the things that I actually started to do was make a list and have all of these ideas in my head as to why I was experiencing this worry and fear of being judged. And in human psychology, people really just want to be accepted, to be loved, to belong, and to feel worthy. And so which one of these actually come up and maybe trigger your self-worth, maybe your ability to want validation and be liked and loved? What I want you to think about after making that list and doing that self-introspection is what were to actually happen if that person or people, if they do judge you after you've told them something, after you've went online or went live for the very first time and there's crickets, or there are critics sending you really strange messages. What does that mean, and what does that say about you? A lot of times we start to think of all of these thoughts in our minds, but we don't rationally break it down of what that actually means to you. And does it actually mean that you are not worthy? Does it actually mean that you wouldn't be liked? Does it actually mean that you're outcasted and you wouldn't belong? So what does it ultimately mean if that person that you loved would judge you? What does that mean for you? And I know, you guys, it gets a little bit deep, so bear with me for a second. But this gets us really in better emotional control of what we're feeling Because at the end of the day, really, someone else's opinions are their opinions. It's not actual fact. It's not actual truth. They are probably projecting their own insecurities many times. Actually, 9 out of 10 times, it is all projected about them. It has nothing to do with you. It is probably because they wanted to take the courage to start something new, do something completely outside of the ordinary, or make a drastic change. And they decided to play small, and you wanted to play big. And so I want you to actually keep that in mind. Number 3. So I'm going to reiterate this again because I said this before, but number 3, remember your value and remember your light. Their opinions, the person that is potentially judging you or that you're worried about being judged, it's just a worry. It may or may not have happened. And also, if it does, it has absolutely nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing to do with you. So this could be a really good point to actually pause the video and write down 3 things that you actually love about yourself. That perhaps you are a risk taker, that you are courageous, that you are bold, that you are brave, that maybe, just maybe, some of these naysayers or these judgment-prone individuals are just diminishing their own light. Now, this is not something to say a rah-rah or a motivation video, but you want to actually remind yourself of what are your strengths. A lot of times when we're faced with these doubts and these worries and we go into that negative spiral, it's so easy to forget our strengths. It's so easy to forget your gifts. So I want you to actually recite them. Why is it that you are magnetic or charming or action-driven or successful? And what are you actually working towards? Now, lastly, my favorite step. Remember your why. Simon Sinek says this, right? A lot. Remember your why, remember what you do, but it's also in French, your raison d'être, or as the Japanese call it, your ikigai. The fulfillment of one's life. I actually did an entire video just on how to find your purpose and passion with doing the Ikigai exercise. I'll drop that link below this video so you'll have access to it and watch it after this video, so don't forget. But chock full of information. If you know you're actually serving people impact, many of you are entrepreneurs, are coaches, are speakers, are small business owners, are wanting to create something online that's totally yours, well, remember who you're serving. Remember who that person, even if it's that one person that you are impacting, who is that person? Remember that why. Remember who it is on the other side of that video when you go live, or the reason why you want to write that book, or the reason why you want to coach that person. You want to drive impact. So if this is a really good time to stop, go ahead and pause this video and write it down. Write down, what is your why? Why is it that you do the thing that you do? It will completely diminish any worry that you have of being judged, because you know in your heart you're doing it for those reasons and no one else's, which means that no one else's opinion matters except for your own. So anytime that you are feeling low, anytime you need encouragement, anytime you need a boost, you can always go back to this video. I hope this added a ton of value for you today. If you are curious about knowing more about these tips and well-being tips, growth hacks, if you're an entrepreneur, a coach, a leader, someone who is curious about just overall well-being and getting better, we have an insider community that I'd love for you to be part of, that has group coaching, hot seat coaching, a community that helps you thrive, and 20 hours plus of recorded content. I'll drop a link below so you can click on it to get access to our very special insiders community. Now, did you get a lot out of this video? If so, go ahead and comment below. I'd like to hear and keep the conversation going in the comments in terms of Who are you worried about judging you? What happened when you tried these steps? I am always checking your comments and I'm eager to reply back. So let's continue the conversation below. And if you think this video will help somebody else, feel free to share it. Don't forget to like, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.